In this video, which is the last of our series looking at Excel, we're going to look at how we can create a more advanced graph, comparing two different data sets on a singular graph. So for this example, we're going to compare the total income and the total profit based on the number of guests that we have. So because this is a bit more of an advanced technique, there is a couple of more steps to what we've done previously. But I guess the first thing we need to do, because we want to, have the number of guests listed horizontally, we can go ahead and get rid of the word guess if you haven't already done so. I did this as part of the extension activity we looked at previously to automatically calculate the income, so that if we change the number of the guests, it changes the total income and the total profit. But if you haven't done that, that's okay. You can still complete this activity. But I would recommend, removing the word guess. It doesn't matter if you don't, but it just makes it look a little bit nicer when we compare the points together. I guess, yeah, depending on the type of chart, you actually do have to. So now that I think about it, get rid of the word guess if you haven't already done so. All right, so then what we're going to do is, because we want to compare the number of guests and the total income, similar to how before we had expenses and the number, let's highlight both columns. So from A16, click and drag down to B20. And once again, we're going to go to Insert, Recommended Charts. All right, and so it recommends a scatter plot, but we can actually customize this a bit more. So if we go to All Charts, you'll see it gives us all of the different options. So you can see we've got columns, we've got lines, we've got things like area, pie charts, people like. But because we're comparing two different sets of numbers, a scatter plot is probably the most appropriate. So you can change the styles along the top here. I'm going to go for the straight lines and markers. All right, and you can see it has a few different options. But what we want is this one here, which will compare the two numbers. So we should end up with a straight line. Because if we think about it, the more people we have, the income will be increased in that straight manner. So it should be a straight line. So we're going to select the straight line one, which was actually the recommended one. That's fine. I just wanted to show you that you can customize this. So say you just want the dots without the lines. You can. If you want curved lines, you can have curved lines, but it doesn't really affect us when we've got a straight line graph. So you can do it without the dots if you just want the line. All right, so you can customize this how you want. I'm just going to go with that one. Click OK. So again, it gives us the generic chart. This time it does give us the numbers along the bottom. So I guess when I say this time, I am referring to the previous video when we did a basic chart, but we didn't have the expenses categories listed. So if we want to then add in another set of data, so this column of data into our solution, we need to click on the select data. And this time, instead of the horizontal category, we want to go over to the legend entries or the series, and we want to add in another series of data. So the first thing it gives us the option of doing is selecting the series name. So if we want, we can just click on total profit because that's what it's called. All right, nice little shortcut. We can type total profit as well and it will be fine. But I guess if we change the name of it down the track, it is good to reference that cell. The series X values, if we click in there, we want it to have the same scale as this other data set we've already got in here. So we do have to click from A16 down to A20 to select those values. And then under the series Y values, if we just get rid of those, we click and drag from C20 or C16, sorry, down to C20. All right, and you can see what happens there is it draws us another line. This one's in orange. And it starts a little bit lower because obviously we start with a negative profit. But we click OK. So we now got 2 lines that we can use to compare. So I guess if we want to have some extra information on here about these graphs, we can go in and add the chart element. If we go to legend, we can add, depends where you want it, the top, the bottom, the left to right, wherever you want. I'm going to go on the bottom. All right, and you'll see it has total profit, which is correct. But series 1, obviously, it doesn't tell us the total income. So again, if we go back to select data, you can see it says series 1 is one of the options. Let's click edit. All right, and it's already got the data in there, but it hasn't got the series name. So if we just select total income, that will now give us total income and total profit. And we've got a legend which shows us which line is which on our graph. All right, I guess we should probably change the chart title, total income versus total profit, something like that. All right, and again, if we want to use this somewhere, we right click and save as picture. So I'm just going to call it income versus profit. All right, so that's how we can combine multiple data sets within a singular Excel graph.